For as long as we have studied human biology, we have operated under a very strict, very rigid hierarchy. We have always believed that the brain is the brilliant, untouchable master computer, and the muscles are just the dumb, mechanical hardware designed to do the heavy lifting. We separate the mind and the body. If you want to get smarter, you read a book. If you want to get stronger, you lift a weight. Welcome to Dr. Levitas. But modern neuroscience has just completely shattered that divide. Your skeletal muscle is not just there for movement. What if your muscle mass is actually the physical, biological hard drive for your brain? Today, we are diving into one of the most breathtaking, revolutionary discoveries in modern medicine, the muscle memory axis. We are going to explore the cutting-edge science of a miraculous enzyme called Cathepsin B, why your brain absolutely thrives on the burn of a hard workout, and why lifting weights might be the single greatest defense we have against Alzheimer's disease. Please hit the like button and leave a comment. Your engagement is a huge help to the channel. To understand how flexing a bicep or pushing through a heavy squat can physically alter your memory, we have to look at a groundbreaking discovery made in 2016 regarding a highly specialized enzyme. Whenever you contract your muscles, whether you are going for a brisk, aerobic jog or engaging in deep, heavy resistance training, your muscle tissue acts like an endocrine gland. It secretes dozens of chemical messengers into your bloodstream. One of the most vital messengers released during this process is a protein enzyme known as Cathepsin B. For a long time, researchers didn't know what this enzyme did outside of the cell. But when they started tracking its path through the human body during exercise, they realized it wasn't traveling to the fat cells, and it wasn't traveling to the liver. Cathepsin B was on a direct, high-speed train straight to the brain. But getting into the brain is not easy. Your central nervous system is protected by an incredibly strict security system. Your brain is guarded by the blood-brain barrier, a highly selective cellular fortress designed to keep toxins, pathogens, and unwanted chemicals strictly out of your neural environment. It is incredibly difficult to get anything past this barrier. But Cathepsin B possesses a biological VIP pass. Because it is a naturally derived, highly beneficial myokine, a muscle messenger, the blood-brain barrier actively recognizes it and grants it immediate entry. The muscle is essentially sending a prioritized, encoded message directly to the brain's headquarters. And once Cathepsin B crosses that heavily guarded wall, it travels straight to one specific, deeply vital structure, the hippocampus. The hippocampus is the undisputed memory center of your brain. It is the region responsible for spatial navigation, learning new information, and converting short-term experiences into permanent, long-term memories. When Cathepsin B arrives at the hippocampus, it acts as a profound chemical catalyst. It binds to the cells and forcefully triggers the production of a protein called BDNF. BDNF stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. In the neuroscience community, we lovingly refer to BDNF as miracle grow for the brain. When BDNF levels spike in response to Cathepsin B, it initiates a miraculous process called neurogenesis, the actual, physical birth and growth of brand new brain cells. It also causes your existing neurons to sprout new, dense connections called dendrites, allowing your brain to process information faster and store memories more securely. You are not just preserving your brain when you exercise, you are actively fertilizing it. The physical contraction of your muscle is the exact chemical key required to unlock the growth of your memory. And if you want to see how profoundly this plays out over a human lifetime, we just have to look at the clinical data surrounding our aging population. For decades, we assumed that cognitive decline was just a tragic, inevitable part of getting older. But recent, comprehensive clinical studies have revealed a staggering, direct correlation between a person's physical muscle mass and their cognitive test scores in their later years. Researchers have repeatedly found that elderly individuals who maintain higher levels of lean muscle mass, and specifically, higher grip strength, scored dramatically better on tests of memory, executive function, and verbal fluency. This is not a coincidence. Those who have prioritized sustainable, lifelong resistance training have spent decades continuously flooding their brains with Cathepsin B and BDNF. They have literally built a larger, denser, more resilient hippocampus. Their muscles have acted as a biological shield, defending their cognitive clarity against the wear and tear of time. But it is not just the chemical messengers that protect the brain. It is the profound neurological demand of the movements themselves. And this brings us to a massive misconception about how we keep our brains sharp. When we want to protect our cognitive health, the standard advice is to do crossword puzzles or play Sudoku. While mental puzzles are wonderful for passing the time, they do not even come close to the immense, system-wide neurological demand of learning a complex motor skill. Think about a heavy barbell snatch or a deep, perfectly executed back squat. To perform these movements, your brain has to calculate your balance in three-dimensional space, coordinate the firing of thousands of muscle fibers with microsecond precision, stabilize your spine, and process massive amounts of spatial feedback from your joints. Learning and executing heavy, complex resistance training forces your central nervous system to forge incredibly thick, robust neural pathways. You are demanding that your brain and your body work together as one perfectly synchronized unit. The sheer electrical wattage required to lift a heavy weight wires your brain for unparalleled efficiency and resilience, far beyond what a pen and paper puzzle can ever achieve. And this robust wiring is exactly what creates something neurologically life-saving: cognitive reserve. Cognitive reserve is essentially your brain's backup generator. It is the concept that a brain with a highly dense, incredibly robust network of synapses can sustain significant physical damage without showing any outward signs of memory loss or cognitive decline. This is the holy grail of Alzheimer's research. Alzheimer's disease is characterized by the buildup of toxic amyloid plaques and tau tangles in the brain, which destroy neurons. However, autopsies have shown that some people die with brains absolutely full of Alzheimer's plaques, yet they never exhibited a single symptom of dementia while they were alive. Why? Because their cognitive reserve was so massive. When you lift weights, when you build muscle, and when you continuously flood your brain with Cathepsin B, you are building that cognitive reserve. You are creating so many dense, redundant neural pathways that even if the pathology of Alzheimer's begins to form, your brain simply routes the information around the damage. Your muscle mass gives your brain the architectural buffer it needs to outsmart the disease. Finally, I want to reframe a feeling that we all know too well in the gym, and explain how it is actually a profound biological gift to your brain. Let's talk about the burn of lactic acid. When you push a muscle to absolute failure, it produces lactic acid, which breaks down into a compound called lactate. For a century, sports science told us that lactate was a toxic waste product that caused fatigue. We were told it was the enemy. But modern neurobiology has completely flipped this on its head. Lactate is not a waste product. When you perform intense muscle contraction, the lactate spills into your blood, crosses the blood-brain barrier, and is eagerly absorbed by your neurons. In fact, during periods of intense physical or mental stress, your brain actually prefers lactate over glucose as its primary emergency fuel. Your brain uses that lactate to fuel the massive energy requirements of neurogenesis and memory consolidation. The burn you feel in your legs during a heavy set of squats is quite literally the manufacturing of high-octane rocket fuel for your mind. You are feeding your brain the exact energy it needs to forge new memories and stay brilliantly sharp. Here is the doctor's verdict: protect your memories. It is time to completely change the narrative around why we exercise. You are not just going to the gym to look better in a mirror, or to burn off the calories from your weekend. You are going to the gym to protect your mind. Your muscle tissue is the biological hard drive that stores your memories, your sharpness, and your independence. By embracing sustainable resistance training, challenging your body with complex movements, and pushing through that lactate burn, you are doing so much more than building a physique. You are flooding your hippocampus with miracle grow. You are building an impenetrable cognitive reserve. You are guaranteeing that the vibrant, brilliant person you are today remains intact for decades to come. I want to hear from you in the comments below. What is one complex movement or heavy lift you are going to challenge your brain and your body with this week? Let's upgrade our hard drives together. Until next time, stay curious, stay resilient, and take care of your memory. Watch this video suggestion, it was especially picked for you. Please share, comment, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you, it helps a ton with the algorithm. Remain tuned for future videos and keep growing.